Hello, everyone. I don't know if anyone's out there yet, and if you could just let me know that you can hear me and see me, that'd be good. If you just tell me that down in the comments. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Bacon Beer. Everyone okay? It's tea time here in the UK, so got a cup of tea. Hope you have too, wherever you are. Do tell me. Hi there, Elvin, in Toronto, Canada. Nice to have you here. Hi, Stephen. I did see your message about your CD box set. Just wait for a few people more to join. Leisure Sounds Records. Hi, Tom. You okay? Hi, Dexter from Perth in Australia. Good to see you here. Hi, Charles. Nice to see you. Nice to see you here. Okay, so we've got 21 on, so we'll start. Okay, so a week, a bonanza of news. Let It Be streaming a new revamp, nice and shiny and clean, and all buffed up for the digital age, coming to Disney Plus, hopefully with a physical release later in the year. And of course, one hand clapping, which took us a bit by surprise. Took us a bit by surprise, but very, very happy to have that announcement. Do let me know what you guys think. Hi, Neil. Tamworth in Staffordshire in the UK. Welcome. Pablo loves vinyl. Hi there. Welcome. What are we thinking about this week's news? I was quite surprised to see, quite a few people were not that happy about Let It Be, which surprised me because when Get Back came out a few years ago, everyone was saying where is Let It Be? Where's Let It Be? And a lot of people are happy about it, but I was quite surprised to see quite a few people that were not that bothered about it. Hi, Cars 606. Okay, let's get some comments up here. Back Bacon Beer, Record Store Day in North America, Mind Games EP, Lennon, Ringo, new EP, Harrison Picture Disc, and Splinter, Harrison's Dark Horse label. Yeah. I nearly picked up the Joe Strummer album. I had it in my hand, and I thought, I'm only getting this because it's on Dark Horse Records. And then I remembered that I don't actually collect Dark Horse Records unless they're George Harrison. So I put it back because I felt that I thought I'd spent enough. Hi, Heath. Haven't seen Let It Be, so you're excited about it. Oh, right, okay. So you've never seen it. I mean, I have to say it's quite a few decades since I last saw it as well. So I'm really excited about that. Beetle Dave says, looking forward to one hand clapping. Yep. Hi, Martin. Fans underwhelmed by Let It Be news. It's Beatles' original movie. Now with proper picture quality. Yeah, exactly that. I think we should be very happy about that. And a lot of people saying, why do we need Let It Be when we've got Get Back? And obviously Get Back is it's a much better film, goes into much more detail, much more footage, obviously. But I think the two things complement each other, and there are there are lots of bits in Let It Be that are not in Get Back, particularly those performances on the 30th of January, the day after the 31st of January, the day after the rooftop concert, that were not in Got Back in their entirety. And obviously the whole George walking out thing, that was in much more detail in Get Back as well. Right, where are we? Okay, so I think I've just answered that. I mean, apparently there are no scenes in Get Back that were in Let It Be, or if the ones that they do share, they're kind of taken from different angles, so they don't look the same. But there's so many more complete performances in Let It Be. Things like Susie Parker and stuff like that. So a lot of Beatles performances in their entirety in Let It Be, from what I can remember. Whereas in Get Back, we kind of just see snippets of it. Dexter says, does this mean the Star Cup Club tapes are on the way? No, I don't think so. I don't think it means that, but we do know that Peter Jackson has bought the rights to the tapes, so he obviously wants to do something with them. But whether that will get a commercial release or not, I guess we don't know. But it's possible. I mean, the Star Cup tapes, to me, it's an album that I've always found difficult to listen to because of the sound quality. To have it cleaned up would be wonderful from a historical point of view, but from a musical point of view, I don't know if it's that great, because most of the songs on there are covers. So that interests me less. Stephen A says, I saw Let It Be in 1981 last time. That's a long time ago. I think I've seen it more recently than that, but that is a long time ago. Pablo Loves Vinyl says, quite happy about Let It Be coming out remastered. I think the footage is entirely different from Jackson's Get Back. Yes, that's right. Leisure Sounds Records says, what record store day? Splinter. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't know there was a Splinter album coming out for Record Store Day, and I certainly didn't see it. MBT says, hi Beatley. Hi MBT. I'm really excited about One Hand Clapping too. That's good. Andrew Ethel the Frog says, I've never seen Let It Be because I don't think it's been on British TV since Christmas 1979, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I am too. Martin says, what's shocking is the material Lindsay Hogg had captured and the material he went with. Yeah, he had a completely different approach. I think, Martin, and it always looks really dark, and that kind of makes it feel more depressing as well. And he says, oh, I've also never seen Let It Be. I'm too young, so really looking forward to that too. Great to have so much exciting news. Martin says, Martin's very active early on. He's gone early doors. Martin, should you not be at work? I'm asking that question. Are you working from home and you skiving off to come and join us? I don't know. Tone, I love things that are so bad that they're brilliant. Ringo in Candy, Paul London Town video, and George Blowaway video. I quite like Blowaway video, actually. I love Crackerbox Palace video. That's pure Python. Yeah, it is. It's very funny. Back Bacon Beer says to Leisure Sounds the second Splinter album. Stephen A says he was 16 at the time, a mere slip of a boy. Martin says, I enjoyed Paul's documentary about Flaming Pie, great footage. I also think put it there gets enough attention. Yeah, I mean, you know, back in the day, Paul used to do, you know, a video for virtually every album that came out. There's one for Press to Play as well, and Broad Street as well. You know, always used to get an airing on the BBC. I used to record them. On video. So I had them, you know, watched them lots of times. Charles Duncan says, Tone, I had Let It Be tape 40 years ago, but my brother wiped half the tape, so I had half of the movie for 40 years. I hope they do a DVD soon. Yes, so do I. I'd like to get it on DVD or Blu-ray. John says, Beatley Tone, since we're getting a revamped Let It Be on Disney Plus, how about new music to go along with the music, unheard music put on vinyl and CD? Yeah, I think, well, you know, something that like that would be welcomed. You kind of wonder how much they can scrape the bottom of the barrel with Let It Be, because you know that, you know, we've had quite a lot of the stuff, you know, on the Super Deluxe box set, but we know that there are hours and hours of, you know, of music recorded for Let It Be. So it's not like there's not that, you know, the material's not there. Heath says, what's your guess on Beatles release this year? Rubber Soul. I'm gunning for Magical Mystery Tour. Any chance there won't be a release? Dear God, I hope not. I don't think that there's any chance that there won't be a release this year, or you know, why? What would be the reason for that? I think there will definitely be a box set this year with a stereo remix, because they need to get on with it, because none of us are getting any younger, and so yeah, I think it will probably be Rubber Soul. We'll kind of think that it will be Rubber Soul, you know, working its way back from Revolver, but you know, you know, this year's not an anniversary. They could leave Rubber Soul till next year to make it the 60th anniversary. You know, the 60th anniversary this year would be Beatles for Sale and Hard Day's Night. I wouldn't say no to getting a remix of those and a box set with those in it. I'd be quite happy about that. It just depends. We just don't know. There doesn't seem to be any sort of plan. You know, Magical Mystery Tour, as Heath is suggesting, you know, just got skipped over. They went from Sgt. Pepper to the White Album, and you know, I think we know the reason why. There just probably wasn't enough time to do, you know, 2 albums in one year. So they went straight to the White Album. But you know, we'll have to wait and see. I guess the smart money is still on Rubber Soul, but you know, if they do go back to the anniversary, you know, aspect of it, then it could be Hard Day's Night or Beatles for Sale, or maybe both of them. You never know. That's what I mean. There doesn't seem to be any logical pattern to how they're working with that at the moment. I've watched Let It Be more than Get Back since it came out. I don't think it's a downer, as many people think. Twickenham's a downer, no matter how hard they try to polish it. Yeah, that section where they're kind of, you know, going in the studio early in the morning and trying to make music is, you know, it's uncomfortable watching. It's probably uncomfortable for them. Probably didn't want to be there. It kind of, you know, changed when they moved to Abbey Road, and it just became a bit more palatable, I suppose. Kevin Barron, hi Kevin. Last time I remember Let It Be shown on terrestrial TV was on the BBC in 1982. Someone else said 1979, but we've got one for 1982. Don't believe it has been on TV since. I can't remember it being on either. I can remember it being on in 1976. That was the first time I ever saw it, and we didn't have video then. But I do remember, for some reason, recording it on my cassette deck with like a microphone up against the TV speaker, and recording it on cassette. And I've no idea why I did that. I just felt I needed some sort of souvenir. I don't think I ever listened to that cassette back again. They should do something with Let It Be Naked, a record, CD. Yeah, love Let It Be Naked. Stephen A says, I was talking to Heath, I don't think they would do much with Magical Mystery Tour anytime soon, as there was a film box set only a few years ago. Well, there was, yeah, but they didn't do the stereo remix of the, of the album, which is kind of the centerpiece of all of these new box sets. So just because they did that, Stephen, I wouldn't rule that out, but they just skipped over it as if it didn't exist, which is a shame. Bill Dave says, rumor is the Rooftop concert might be released from the Let It Be reissue. Yeah, maybe. I think a lot of people want that, especially if it's the entire thing with all the performances. I think all the songs were recorded twice, and Get Back, I think, they went through that three times altogether. So if all that was put on a record, that would be good. I think that would be very much welcomed. I think pretty much all the recordings are out there somewhere, either on the box set or Let It Be Naked, or Anthology. But it would be good to have them in one place, I guess. Pablo loves vinyl. My money's still on Rubber Soul, maybe 2025, but if it arrived this autumn, I'd not complain. No, I don't think anyone would. Hi, Bob. Bob says, oh, he's busy at work. Is that Erin? Okay. Hi, Erin. It's a shame he's busy at work, putting the rest of us to shame, I guess. Phil Harding says, there's no plan to the releases. Makes it kind of exciting. Yeah, it does. It makes it hard to predict what will be the next one. Lee Sanna says, Tone, if you had a choice, George Harrison 79 or Cloud 9 or Tug of War Flaming Pie, like a choice of what, of a sort of a box set, or you saying which album do I prefer of those? Probably, oh, that's hard. Probably Flaming Pie. Then probably George Harrison, then Tug of War, then Cloud 9. Pause 2, come on, Lee. Okay. Tone, are you getting pumped up and excited about the Mind Games box set and Crooked Boy? Okay, so Crooked Boy was out for Record Store Day. I didn't pick it up. I wasn't bothered about getting it on vinyl. I'm going to order the CD. I think it comes out on Friday on CD. So I'm less excited. I'm always less excited about Ringo's releases, although I think that February Sky is the best thing that he's done for quite a while. I really, really like that track. I am so excited about the Mind Games box set. I mean, I just think that the Lennon camp have got this box set format down to a T. I think it is the kind of benchmark I think that all box sets should be judged by. I love the fact that we're getting 6 CDs and it'll follow the same format. Paul Hicks remix of the album, and then we'll get the raw studio mixes and the Evolution mixes that I like, and the Element mixes where they just take certain instruments like voice and drums, or voice and bass, or bass and drums, and all that sort of stuff. It's all really interesting stuff to hear. And then maybe a couple of CDs of outtakes and that sort of stuff. I always think that is such a brilliant format that they've got. So I'm really excited about that. There'll be a hardback book as well. I think there's 2 Blu-rays in there. There's bound to be stuff, going by the previous Lennon box sets. There'll be stuff on the Blu-rays that are not on the CDs as well. So that's extra stuff. So what's not to love? There is a standalone book for Mind Games as well. I think is coming out in September. I think it's been put back to September. Kaz says, just checked on Genome. Let It Be was shown on BBC May 70, December 75, August 76. That's when I saw it for the first time, because I remember I'd only just got into the Beatles that year, and they showed all the films in August 76, one a week, but they didn't show Magical Mystery Tour. It was much later that I saw Magical Mystery Tour for the first time. December 79 and May 82. So there you have it. Thank you for doing that research. Tony's busy watching Benny Hill. Okay. Paul says, hi, Paul. I remember Let It Be on BBC Two in the early 80s. I asked my mum to video it as I was out. When I came home, she said she didn't even bother. She didn't bother because it was just them sitting around and I never got over. Well, that is basically what it is. But they're sitting around playing Beatles songs, and that's the thing. That's the thing. Andrew says, when the Mind Games box set was announced last year, they said there would be other surprises. Yes, they did. They did. You're right. Any thoughts on what a later Lennon released this year? Maybe sometime in New York City box. Yeah, wishful thinking. I'd love it to be that. But it just feels like that ship has sailed now, doesn't it? Which is a real shame, a real opportunity missed, and a real cop out. It is a real shame. But hopefully that will be, that sometime that will come out. What that might be, I don't know. Maybe what about something like maybe a Lennon singles box or something like that? Maybe something like that might come. We've never had that. I think it would be welcome. Maybe in picture sleeves and that sort of thing. I mean, wouldn't be a massive thing because there's not that many singles. But maybe it could be something like that. I don't know. This is the great thing about surprises. We just don't know. He says, I've managed to purchase all the McCartney archive LPs in the last few months and thoroughly enjoyed them. We'll be bummed out if there's no more released pre-Linda's passing. Only 4 to do. Get moving. Yeah, I think we all kind of feel like that. And it's, it's look, the longer it goes on, the more doubts we have whether it will continue. As I've said this before, and you've probably heard me say it before, but the one sort of shred of hope that I'm hanging on the archive still being alive is that when Paul did the Got Back tour in 2022, I think it was, 2022. There was obviously a tour book, a program, and everything, and in it had a page about the archive collection. At the bottom of that page, it said, "Watch out for more archive releases coming soon." And that was what it said. Now, when we got to the second part of the Got Back tour, when he went to Australia and Brazil and Mexico, they had added things into the tour book. They added a page about the 7-inch singles box that came out, about Paul at Glastonbury, and that sort of stuff. But they still had the archive, the page in there about the archive editions, still with at the bottom, look out for more, archive editions coming soon. Now, my thinking is, if they can add pages to the tour program, like they did with the Glastonbury thing and the singles box thing and McCartney 1, 2, 3, that was also added. They could also take things out as well, and they didn't take it out. And that is the one shred of hope that we've got, because if it was dead, surely they would have taken that page out. If they can add new pages, then they can take pages out, and they didn't. So we must assume that the archive project is still on, but why has it taken 4 years to date to give us a new one? Okay, Mark says, I always think it's a pity Ringo does not release Ringo and Goodnight Vienna remixed in one box with some bonus material, even if it was not a box. Not sure Ringo is into this. No, he said that he's not into this box set release thing, which is a real shame, because it would be great. Wouldn't it be great to get a box, particularly of the Ringo album, with outtakes, when that George, John and Paul are on some of those tracks in the studio. It'd be great to get some outtakes from that for sure. Pete says, hi Tone, Crooked Boy is about 12 minutes. That's a little light, don't you think? Yeah, it is. I didn't realize it was that short. It was that short. The other thing that I didn't realize is that Linda Perry, who has written all the songs for that, wrote that song for Four Non Blondes, What's Up. I didn't know she'd written that. I've known that song for years. In fact, we play it in my band, and I only learned this week, I think Joe Mayo mentioned it, that Linda Perry wrote that song. So shame on me. Hi, Stephen. Let It Be was on BBC Two on Saturday afternoon in 1982. I paid $750 for a Hitachi state-of-the-art video recorder in that year. I didn't know it was coming on and only caught the end of it. There are tales of woe about trying to record Let It Be when it was on the telly in 1982. It's a shame. $750 for a video recorder. That's a lot of money, isn't it? That's a lot of money, especially in 1982. Right. Okay. Charles says, Tony, in 1980, they put Let It Be on BBC Two as a replacement because their program they were showing broke down. Is that true? I didn't know that. I know that they put Help on the night John was killed. I think that was on ITV, or it might have been on BBC. I can't remember. But yeah, that was a miserable watch for sure. Bill Dave says, do you think Let It Be Naked should be a record store day release at some point? Or just an ordinary release. It's been a long time. I think it came out originally in 2003, Dave, if I'm right. And it's really expensive to buy. Now on vinyl. Obviously, the CD's easy to get, but I think a lot of people would welcome it. I think a lot of people would welcome that. Stevens says, not sure BBC had it in May 1970. Yeah, that's true. Actually, May. That's right. That was when it was released. That's probably where the May 1970 came from. Quite right. Lee says, Tone, on one hand clapping. I don't remember Wings performing Whiny Road Let It Be yesterday in it. Do you? No, I don't. Well, it's not in the it's not in that DVD that was in was in the Band on the Run box set. I think that the performances of those Beatles songs is just Paul on the piano. I'm not sure about that, but I think that is. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Yesterday. It was Lady. I think it's Lady Madonna is the other Beatles song that's on One Hand Clapping. Martin says people who say they are just sitting around. Paul is sitting around making up Get Back, or George is writing All Things Must Pass with John adding lyrics. Amazing what people call sitting around. Well, yeah, okay. The bit where they conjure Get Back out of thin air is just amazing to watch, and it always reminds me of that story where Paul is round at Dustin Hoffman's house and he asks him if he can just write a song out of out of anything or on the spot or something like that, and he read that the thing about Picasso dying in, I think it was Time. Was it Time magazine? I can't remember. And he wrote Picasso's last words there and then on the spot. And according to Paul, Dustin Hoffman was saying, look to his wife, look, he's doing it. And I always felt that Get Back the Get Back moment in Get Back was us, being able to say, look, he's doing it. So that was great. That was great. A great moment. Beatle Brad. Hi, Brad. How you doing, mate? I'm not too sure, lol. That I am live. Oh, I'm sure you are, Brad. Nice to see you here, mate. Martin says, a mind can blow those clouds away. I think was John's contribution. It was amazing that he just made that up on the spot. Yes, it is. It is. And George took it straight away. He went, yeah, right. And it was better than what he had, which I can't quite remember. Was it a life can blow those clouds away? I think it was. Lisa's Tone. What's the story of George's Hard Day's Night guitar solo on the live BBC recordings? I have no idea. I'm not sure. Embellish it. I can't think what you mean there. Martin says, I'd say All Things Must Pass is my favourite George song. Yeah, it is mine. I think I did a top 50 George songs video, and that was my number one. Sorry for that spoiler for anyone that hasn't watched it and thought, oh my God, watch that. I think it sums everything in one song. Yeah, it's a brilliant song, and I really like the bit in Get Back where they briefly worked it out, and the harmonies were really nice, and it's just a shame they didn't give that more of a chance, because it would have been really interesting to hear a really good version of that. And you never know, if we had seen a really good version of it, it might have ended up as a Beatles song. John says, Billy Tone, I was on Amazon and Paul's One Hand Clapping not on it yet. What's up with that? Yeah, I'm not sure that that this is going to go to Amazon. I know that the 2 LP version with the EP is a McCartney website exclusive. I think that's the case, and I'm not sure if it's going to go to Amazon. You would have thought it would have been up by now, and it might do. It might come on later, but obviously people that Bob left a message today saying he was hoping it would go on Amazon so he doesn't have to pay the postage, which is fair comment. If you've got Amazon Prime, you kind of want to buy it from Amazon, don't you? Lee's just talking to Martin. And Martin's talking to Lee. Lee's talking to Martin. Martin's talking to Lee. Da, 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 da. Paul says, I've waited 40 years since my mum didn't record Let It Be in 1982. Only 2 weeks to go now. Can't wait. I hope there is a physical release. Yeah, me too. And I hope you enjoy it, Paul. It is my favourite Beatles film because, you know, for me it's all about the music, and that is you know, as miserable as the film is, you know, it is just the Beatles playing Beatles songs, and that's what I want to see. So it is my favourite Beatles film. Andrew Ethel the Frog says, I've heard rumours about a George release this year, but no details yet. Maybe Living in the Material World. Yeah, Danny Harrison did a podcast for Record Store Day, and he was talking about the release of Wonderwall and Electronic Sound on the Zoetrope thing. But he also mentioned that the remix for Concert for Bangladesh and Living in the Material World has been done, and I don't know when he recorded this podcast. It came out on the 16th of April, so a few days before Record Store Day. But in that podcast, he said he'd only received the files of the remix songs a couple of days before, and what he'd heard of them so far, it was fantastic. So I'm pretty sure we'll get at least one of those this year. Probably Concert for Bangladesh. I would have thought if they're, you know, going in chronological order. Obviously, there's not going to be another issue of All Things Must Pass. So, you know, the next one is going to be Concert for Bangladesh. Although, having said that, it's interesting because I seem to remember when Danny Harrison announced that that Dark Horse had now moved to BMG, and you know, they were going to be releasing stuff. Concert for Bangladesh and the other live album, Live in Japan, weren't part of that package that was announced that were going to be released on the Dark Horse label. So that's interesting if Concert for Bangladesh is going to come out, or if he's, you know, if it's been remixed. So that's an interesting one. Martin says, it must be bizarre for Paul to watch Get Back on big screen with Linda in it, and for that argument to be played over and over to him for over 50 years. Yeah. You know, it was kind of a, what do we think about that? About George, George walking out. I mean, I know George. You know, George was really frustrated with, you know, with his own songs being ignored, and you know, if you think of, you know, the songs that he had on All Things Must Pass, a lot of them were offered to the Beatles. Things like "Isn't It a Pity," which is a, you know, fantastic song. "All Things Must Pass," which is a fantastic song, and they're, you know, the ego of John and Paul, you know, it is looking at their own songs first. And, you know, when you think about it, John had hardly anything for Let It Be. You know, Paul had some good songs, but you know, John had things like, you know, Dig a Pony, which is a song that I like, but it, you know, it's not his best work, and it's certainly no All Things Must Pass, that's for sure. But what do we think about George's walkout? You know, I mean, it was, you know, you kind of, when you know that George walked out, when you saw the original Let It Be, you know, the sort of the main point of conflict was that bit during when they were working on, you know, I've Got a Feeling, where George couldn't get that little lead guitar bit that Paul wanted, that down, that little interlude leading from the verse into the chorus. And do we think that he flounced, unnecessarily, or do you think he was at breaking point at that by that stage? Because if it was just that argument, I'll play what you want me to play, and if you don't want me to play anything at all, I won't, sort of thing. That sort of thing. It seems a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit light. Brad says, hi Tony, I did see Paul's rock show in the theatre, and after it was Let It Be. Nice double bill. I went to the London premiere of Rock Show. It was at the Dominion Theatre in London, and Paul, Linda, and Denny turned up for it in, I think it was 1981. I think I'm right in saying April 1981. But that's a good double bill. Rock Show and Let It Be. Yes, funny moment. Heather McCartney when Yoko screams into the mic. Hilarious stuff. Martin says, Junior's Farm, the best example of awful lyrics not mattering because the song is so good. Yes, it is. It is a good example. I don't think it's that, I've said it before, I don't think the lyrics are that important always. And yeah, that is a good example. It's a great song, nonetheless, even though, the lyrics don't mean anything. Monkberry Moon Delight, that is another example that I would throw out there where the lyrics are somewhat bizarre, don't really mean anything, but fantastic song. Ted says, greetings. Greens to you, Ted. Maybe the problem with the Ringo box set is that there aren't any outtakes or poor quality. Ringo said he doesn't remember many sessions. Yeah, he probably pissed or drunk if you're not from the UK. Yeah, it's possible. But there must have been outtakes because they wouldn't have got everything right first time. That's for sure. So there must be outtakes out there. I don't have any Ringo bootlegs to know if there are, but one of you may have some. Julia's here. Julia, I haven't seen you for a long time. You haven't commented on videos for a long time. I haven't seen you for a long time. She says, Tone, I haven't missed any of your videos, but I've been a little overworked lately. Yeah, likely story. Got the Mind Games EP, both Black and Glow in the Dark, and preferred one hand clapping, 2 LP 7-inch single and t-shirt. Yeah, we didn't have those bundles in the UK. If you saw, I was on the Two Legs podcast on, when was it? Tuesday, the day it was announced and everything. And they were all talking about the bundles that were available from McCartney's US store. We didn't have those in the UK, so and someone had come on my video and said, I've bought the CD version and the poster, and I'm thinking, poster? What poster? We don't know anything about poster. And apparently the poster sold out really quickly. Apparently it was only 250 of those. Of that package, so I don't know how many there were of the other packages, but we didn't even get the option. We are the poor relations here in the UK. We didn't get the Got Back tour, and we didn't get bundles. So no t-shirts, posters, tote bags, and I think there was was there a sweatshirt as well for one hand clapping. But never mind. But enjoy your stuff when you get it, Julia. And as always, I'll be interested to hear your views on the album when you've digested it. Mr. Joe, hiya. Hi, Tone and everyone. Glad I stumbled across your streaming live. My notifications always come too late. Really enjoy your broadcast. Thank you so much. So kind of you to say. Really appreciate that. Don't forget to like the video, kids, and you know, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because subscribers have been hard to come by recently. But we've had a few, but it's getting harder and harder. So if you're here and not subscribed, please consider subscribing. But thanks very much. Yeah, I only really decided around lunchtime to do this live stream. So you know, I didn't really give everyone much warning that I was going to do it. So yeah, so yeah, sorry about that. And if you didn't get the notification and you've just hopped onto YouTube and you've seen that I'm live, I'm glad you're here. Whichever way you managed to find your way here. Okay, Lee says George Harrison's 1979 is the most overlooked solos Beatles masterpiece. It's so consistent, flowing, and sonically beautiful. Yeah, it is. It's a brilliant album. It is a brilliant album, and maybe it doesn't get. I don't know. I think it's well liked by fans. But yeah, maybe it doesn't get the credit it deserves. I think Cloud 9 gets a lot more kudos than the George Harrison self-titled album or eponymous album, which is a great word. But yeah, I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant album. Mark waited. Hi, Mark. I would love a collection of all the McCartney Costello songs under one roof, so to speak. Yeah, I'm not sure. The Flowers in the Dirt deluxe box set had quite a lot of the songs. I had a bootleg that I actually bought in Greenwich Village when I went to New York. I think in the year 2000, I think it was. I bought a bootleg, and it was called the McCartney and McManus tapes or something like that, and that had, I think, pretty much everything that they'd done together on it. I'm not sure if without looking at it, I'm not sure if Flowers in the Dirt is the box set. One of the discs had all the McCartney and Elvis Costello demos and stuff on it. I'm not sure if that's complete or not, but yeah, that would be lovely. I agree. Paul says, I'd like a physical release of McCartney 321. Oh, the video thing that is on Apple. Is it on Apple Plus? I can't. Is it on Apple TV? Sorry, or Apple TV or Disney Plus? I can't remember. It's a great documentary. I haven't heard too much chat about it from the Beatles YouTube community. No, I haven't done a video on it. This is the thing with Rick Rubin, isn't it? And no, it was great. It's quite hard. It's quite hard to do a video on a video without giving away too many spoilers. That might be the reason. I mean, I did do a daily thing of Get Back when that was on, 3 nights on the trot. I did each night. I did a recap, but it's quite hard to do a video on a a TV show or something without giving away too many spoilers. Lee says, I'm so tired. I'll elaborate. The BBC recordings are all live except George Harrison's Hard Day's Night guitar solo is clearly dubbed. I didn't know. I don't think I knew that. I'll go and have a listen to that. I wonder maybe you just messed it up, but yeah, interesting. Kaz says, my mistake, Let It Be was discussed on the May 1970 pop in the cinema. Tony Bilbo looks at the new Beatles film Let It Be. Fair enough. Yeah, that's when it kind of was in the cinema or theatre. Julia says, also pre-ordered Dave Gilmour's latest Luck and Strange black vinyl and bubblegum transparent. Sounds nice. Sounds nice. And how are they? Don't tell me you haven't opened them yet. Oops. Martin says, Paul reaction to the policeman. I think Paul predicted that or said it would be good if the police pulled them off the roof. Yeah, he did. Maybe he called them. Because it would have been, you know, if you think of a great ending to a film, that's a great ending, right? Paul also predicted that people would blame Yoko in years to come for breaking the band up for sitting on an app. That's not true. You just made that up, haven't you? How's retirement, by the way? Yeah, retirement is great. It's great, and you know, I retired a little bit early, a few years early, but I started work at 16, so I didn't go to uni or anything like that. So I kind of felt like I'd done my time, and it's really great. Retirement is really great, and you know what the great thing about it is that if you've got something planned for a day, that you're going to get something done, maybe around the house or in the garden or something like that, and you don't quite get round to it because you're making YouTube videos or you're listening to music, it doesn't matter because you can do it tomorrow. And that is the great thing. Whereas before you had to cram everything into a weekend, and that was tough. So yeah, loving retirement. Ted says, is there a complete video of Rooftop concert without cuts to show people showing people on the street or entering Apple? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. And I know people keep asking about that, and I'm not really sure why. I really like the cutaways to the people on the street and getting people's reaction to it. I think we on Get Back we could have maybe done a little bit less of the, you know, of the receptionist holding up the police in the reception thing. But I quite like the cutting to the people that on the street, especially that sort of city gent who was very disgruntled about all the noise that was being made and all that sort of thing. But I think it kind of adds to it. Mr. Joe says, looking forward to the Let It Be movie release. I've watched this movie so often in poor quality that Jackson's cleanup will feel really strange. Yeah, it will. It will be great to see it. It'll be great to see it all cleaned up, and especially the sound as well. You know, don't forget the sound has been remastered as well, and it's gonna sound great as well. Especially if you've got a TV setup 5.1 or Atmos or whatever. Dave says, best part of Let It Be for me is Ringo working on Octopus's Garden on the piano, right? That's what you mean, isn't it? I think. With George. George helps him out, doesn't he? George helps him out. Yeah, it's a nice moment, Dave. Back Bacon Beer says, with so many cameras filming, you think they could piece together a complete rooftop? Yeah, they probably could. I mean, there must have been a camera on the band the whole time. I just haven't seen it. There would have been several cameras on the band throughout the whole thing. He says George and Paul were very different people. For Paul, the Beatles were everything to him. For George, it was not, and he was sick of the fame thing. He was simply sick of being overshadowed by Paul and John. Yeah, I think that is probably the crux of it. I think that is it. I think he kind of reached the limit of that, and was starting to consider himself as an equal. Mark says, I think George had had enough by then anyway, and he was waiting for the right moment to walk to make the point. Yes, he returned, but he definitely had had enough of the Lennon-McCartney show by then. Yeah. Max here. Hi, Mac. It's morning for you, afternoon for me. Sorry, sorting out my newly discovered vinyl collection, getting shit. Oh, yeah, you said that is this your brother? I think you said your brother was going to ship it to you. Is that right? Have I got that right? Or am I thinking of someone else? I can't remember. Anyway, I think George finally snapped. And according to May Pang, George blew up at John in 1974. Is that where he didn't turn up because the stars weren't right or something like that, when they were supposed to be signing the papers? So, are you sure Let It Be Winding Road, Lady Madonna was actually from 74's One Hand Clapping? I was under the impression Paul was still estranged from those songs at that point. Well, I'm pretty sure because they've been put on the album. Yeah, I mean he didn't play those songs live, but he did play Long Winding Road and Lady Madonna a few months, a year later, when they started the world tour in Australia. So maybe he was just getting back into playing them. I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I'm presuming that if they're in that set, if they're on the LP, then they were probably from those sessions. I think though the one hand clapping thing, I think was recorded in its entirety over about 4 days, if I'm right. Paul says, I think George had a lot going on during Let It Be. I've read that he and Patty had fallen out that day. Yes, I'd read that as well. And that was it. An off-screen argument with John. That's why John said, let's get Clapton. Yeah. Brad says, Tony, so do you think that they should release John L. Fly film? I do have it, and wow, lol, it is out there. Yeah, I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen it until a few weeks ago. So in London at the moment, at the Tate Modern Art Gallery, Yoko has got an exhibition. I think it's called Music of the Mind. And me and Mrs. Beatley Tone, we went there a few weeks ago and saw it, and it is fantastic. It's fantastic. It's it takes you about an hour and a half to get around there, and they were showing the Fly film on a great big screen, and they were also showing Bottoms on a great big screen as well. So, but I didn't watch the whole thing. It was a bit. The plot was rubbish. For Fly, and the plot was better for Bottoms, but we didn't watch all of that either. But both of those were on big screens in different rooms. If anyone's in London, I would recommend Yoko's show at the Tate Modern. All the classic exhibits are there that you know about. The thing, the ladder with the magnifying glass hanging from the ceiling, where there's a plate on the wall and very, very, very tiny letters, the word yes. And you remember the story that John told, that he climbed the ladder and he was so relieved when he looked through the magnifying glass that the word was yes, that it was like a positive message. You can hammer a nail in there. There's a big board there where you can hammer a nail in. Lots of things. The half, what was it called? I can't remember what it's called now. The half a room thing, where all the furniture is just in half, all white furniture, all in half a bed, half a table, half a chair, half a cabinet, all that stuff. That is all there. It's all set out beautifully. It's a really, really good show. So if anyone is in London, I would recommend Yoko's exhibition at the Tate Modern. I think it costs about 20 quid to get in. Julia says, pre-ordered one hand clapping, not preferred. No, oh, right, okay, pre-ordered. Oh, right, on your last post, you mean? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Enjoy it when it comes. Yeah, pre-ordered. You've ordered the 2LP and the 7-inch. Lee says in '79, Paul performs "Let It Be" for the first time. Yes, live. I was there. He did some shows in London, which I got to 3 of them, and the concert for Bangers, concert for Kampuchea, which I also went to. So on the UK '79 tour, that I think that's the first time that he played "Let It Be" live, and he hasn't stopped playing it live since. Tony, your channel is the best, mate. Well done, you. Thank you very much. I love your channel too, Brad. If you don't know Brad's channel, do check him out. He's got the most fantastic collection of records and memorabilia and stuff. And if you haven't seen the little miniature record player with the 3-inch records, hop over to Beatle Brad's channel and go and watch his video. It's great. This was the thing that was released for Record Store Day, and it's a great video, and it's a great little item, very expensive and a real sort of curio. So an interesting thing to see. So that's over at Beatle Brad's channel. Do go and check it out. Give him a sub and all that sort of stuff that we all hark on about all the time. Bacon Beer says, I recommend the book Get Back, the unauthorized chronicle of the Beatles, the Let It Be disaster, by Douglas Solpe and Ray. I'm not even going to try that one. Schweighardt, is it? Published in 1997. I haven't read that. Of course, there's that new book out by Peter Brown and Steve Gaines, the ones that wrote The Love You Make. I wouldn't recommend it on basis on The Love You Make, or as it was known at the time, The Muck You Rake. It's kind of a sort of a real sort of gossipy type book, and I imagine their new book is the same. I don't know if anyone's got that, or if you do have it, tell me about it. I'm not going to bother with that. John says, Tony, do you think Giles Martin is doing a fine job on the remixing of Beatles albums so far, and should they be the new standard for Beatles songs? Yes, I do. I don't think he's getting it 100% right, but I think that he's getting it right somewhere in the 90s. I think he's doing a great job of correcting that awful panning separation where you've got music on one channel and vocals on another, and he's getting the drums in the middle where they should be and the vocals in the middle. I think he's doing a good job. I think sometimes he's a little bit too sometimes he varies a little bit too far from the truth, and sometimes it works really well and sometimes it doesn't. But I do think that I'm not one of these people that that thinks that you've got to listen to the Beatles in mono because that's what they wanted you to hear it. Yeah, because mono was the standard back then, but it's not now. This is 2024, and we've all got hi-fi systems that are of varying varying price points, but the much better. The equipment that we listen to music on now is much better than what people were listening to in the 60s. And mono records, were kind of made for people that had mono record players, and the bass was dialed down. And if you play a mono record on if you play one of the Beatles in mono albums, all the music is in the center, because the music that comes out of each channel is identical, so it sounds like it's all coming from the middle. I like the separation of stereo, and we should all be listening to music in stereo. But of course, the albums that haven't yet been remixed have got this awful panning, and that's what puts us off. I mean, there is a point also where on the monos where mistakes were made when they did the stereo mixes, like bits mixed off, like missed off, and things that went wrong that were included, like like John's little chuckle in Please Please Me, and Paul's voice cracking in If I Fell, and there's a guitar lick that's missing on I'm Only Sleeping, and on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the track. There's all these little nuances that he's trying to correct whilst also sorting out the stereo panning. So I think he's doing a good job, and I think that once he's been through the whole catalogue and remixed the whole lot, I think that listening in mono, is novelty listening. We should be listening in stereo. And people always quote, that John Lennon said, "Oh, you haven't heard Sgt. Pepper unless you've heard it in mono," and that might have been the case in 1967. But we're not in 1967 anymore, and who knows what John would think of, Giles's remix of Sgt. Pepper from 2017. Wonder whether he would still say the same thing. Controversial view, I know, but to me the monos are a little bit like the Emperor's New Clothes. Just going to put that out there. Station Minute says, "Sorry I'm late." It's okay, you don't need a note. Glad to have you here. Julie says Gilmore's album releases on September the 4th. I have to wait, mate. Oh, you pre-ordered them. I thought that was a record store day. Mark Anderson says, "Hi, Beatley Tone. With multiple solo Beatle related releases being released so close together, there's now no excuse not to release Material World later this year." Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier. The releases coming out together. It's not like they haven't done that before, because in 2018 we got 3 in 3 months, didn't we? We got the Imagine Ultimate Mixes box set in October 2018. Then we got the White Album in November 2018, and then we got the Red Rose Speedway and Wildlife Paul's Archive edition in December 2018. So they've done it before. They can do it again. Whether it will be Material World, I don't know. As I said earlier, we talked about that. Danny had spoken about having just received the files for the remixes of Concert for Bangladesh and Living in the Material World. So there's obviously something planned. Whether both will come out this year or it'll be one this year, one next year, I don't know. Whether it will, you would have thought that they would come out in chronological order. So probably Concert for Bangladesh will probably be the next one if that is going to happen. James says, "Hi, Tone, hope all is well. I went to Gibson Village in Oxford Street the other day. Fantastic. Okay. And did you buy anything? Is that presuming that I'm presuming that is a Gibson guitar shop, right? Is that what it is?" Lee says, "Tone, for me, when Free as a Bird and Real Love were finally refurbished, sounding like a proper Beatles recording, then the Fabs legend will have come full circle." Right. Okay. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you're saying that they should be remixed just like everything else. Why they weren't they should have been on the Blue Album. That's for sure. So they should have been remixed for that, because the Blue Album and the Red Album, for that matter, has got every single, everything that was released as a single is on those 2 albums, apart now apart from Free as a Bird and Real Love. So they should have been remixed and put on the Blue album, I think, along with Now and Then. Station Minute says, I think we just want a complete official order release of the rooftop concert. Should have been in the Let It Be box set. Yeah, I think most people would want that. Julius says, Tone, any prediction on the Rubber Soul box set? I think there's still a chance for 2024. Well, yeah, there's always a chance. There's always a chance for it. I mean, as we said earlier, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about that, Julia, but we were talking about that. It doesn't seem to be. We don't know how Apple are thinking. They went from Sgt. Pepper to Let It Be, then they went back to Revolver, and we don't know whether they're now going backwards. So it'll be Rubber Soul, Beatles, Sour, Hard Day's Night. Help, missed out. Going backwards, or whether they will return to anniversaries, because apart from Revolver, all the others have been put out to celebrate anniversaries. I know Let It Be was a year late because of COVID, but if COVID hadn't have happened, it would have happened it would have come out in 2020. So we don't know which way they're going on these. So I think there's as much chance of it being Rubber Soul as it is being any of the others. Just depend, if they do return to anniversaries, then it could be either Beatles for Sale or Hard Day's Night, or maybe both of them in one box, especially with the the 60th anniversary of the Beatles arriving in America, maybe to coincide with that. If they are, so that's one way of looking at it. If they go to anniversaries, if they go to if they're now going from Revolver backwards, then Rubber Soul will be the next one. We just don't know. They may throw a completely curved ball at us, and like they did with the Red and the Blue album, and give us Magical Mystery Tour, or Yellow Submarine or something like that. Let's hope not Yellow Submarine. Stephen says, Let It Be. Who was the guy in the blue jumper? Oh, I don't know. It's been too long. I can't remember who's wearing a blue jumper. Ted says, I like the reactions to people on the street. Would just like an alternative version of just lads singing. I know that there were many cameras. Yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense. As I say before, especially if they were to put all the performances on it, as that, not just the ones that were in, in Let It Be. There was 3 Get Backs and 2 versions of all the other songs as well. Mark says, I took early retirement last year after a health scare. I'd put in 42 years of work too. I just still don't have enough time to listen to all my music. Nor do I. I said that when I retired, I was going to listen to all my albums in order, and I haven't done that at all. And I retired in July last year, and I haven't done that at all. So I am playing a lot of music, but I'm not doing the project that I thought I was going to do, where I was going to make myself listen to all the albums all the way through in order. But enjoy your retirement, Mark. Julius says George was definitely unhappy by then, but remember he still did Abbey Road sessions a couple of months later. Yeah, well, he came back. He came back, after a couple of days after he walked out. He came back, so he'd obviously had a rethink, and that's kind of why I asked the question whether people thought that he kind of flounced because he just had enough, or he flounced because of that one particular argument with Paul, and whether that wasn't really enough to walk out of the biggest band in the world. Julia says, the only Yoko song I like is Walking on Thin Ice. I think that's a brilliant song. it is a brilliant song. I love it as well. I like a lot of stuff. I can't listen to any of Yoko's avant-garde stuff. I just can't. I'm just not. I'm just not trendy enough to like all that screaming and stuff. But there are albums where she sings proper songs, and some of her songs are really good, and I do have time for those, and I will listen to them. But I have to say, "Walking on Thin Ice" is my favourite Yoko song. Paul loves saying how he was right about Klein, but fails to mention he was still wrong about hiring his in-laws. Was he? Was he? I mean, they only managed him, and I don't think they did him too much harm. But he was definitely wrong about Klein. Hi Terry. Nice to see you. I hope everyone was well and got what they wanted. Record store day. Good to see you, Terry. Right, so Paul also justifies. Why is it you having a go? What's going on with Paul? Paul also justifies his poor treatment of George by the huge age gap, 9 months. I think. What? Ricardo says, "Hello, Tone. Hi, Ricardo. Nice to see you." Julius says, "My local shop on Records Day had 3 units of the tiny Beatles turntable. All 3 went unsold as of yesterday." Oh, really? They were very expensive, I think. They were very expensive, but it looked like, I mean, it's a kind of a novelty item, I know. But it was nice. Wasn't available in the UK, I don't think. I probably wouldn't have bought it, but it wasn't available in the UK. Hi, Dino. Nice to see you. My daughter Romana is watching and wants to see you knock your picture down, then say shit. I'm not doing that. Romana, because I had to recover it, and it was okay. I'm not going to knock it down again. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm sorry, but oh, go on then. No, I'm not going to do it. Brad says, "Well, Tony, thank you so much, mate, for mentioning my channel. So where do I send you the check?" No worries, Brad. Thank you for all the help you gave me when I started my channel, mate. Really appreciate that. So don't you worry about that. No check needed. Back Bacon Beer. Get Back sessions were a mistake to do. One White album was finished only several months earlier. Ringo was obligated to start filming Magic Christian in just over a month. A small room, not a stage. Well, yeah, I think so, but they had to. I think they had to make a film under the United Artists contract. I believe so. That they can't. I don't think anyone was. Well, maybe Paul, but I don't think anyone was really that interested in doing that, especially going into that freezing Twickenham studio. At that time of the morning. So yeah, it was. It was the White Album was kind of finished. Maybe I think was it August 68? It was finished, and I know it came out in November 68. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they had much choice. Ricardo says, by the way, I also have a ranking of top 30 songs of every solo Beatle and top 50 of the Beatles on my channel. I don't think did I know that you had a channel, Ricardo? I will get over there and have a look. Ricardo's got a channel for you to check out, so please do. I certainly am. Julia says, I bought 8 arms to hold you on eBay for $99 based on 2 Legs Live 10 to 12 years ago. Very detailed thing. Yeah, I've got one here somewhere, I think. Have I? Yes, here's mine. Yes, brilliant book. This is a reference book, but it's got all the information about all the recording sessions of the solo Beatles. I think it goes up to 2000, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it's a really good book, and it's always been really expensive. $99 is quite expensive. I think I paid about 50 or 60 quid for this. I think I bought mine in 2006 or somewhere around that time. Max says, hang on. Correct on the vinyl thing. They met each other backstage at one of George's concerts, or at a hotel, and George blew up at John. You never backed me up. He apologized later, which John sort of accepted. Yeah. Thanks for that, Matt. I hope some of the remixes get better from the ones that came out on the 2023 Red album. They sound quite nice, but a bit rushed and compressed. I really like the Red album. I thought the Red album remixes were really good. Obviously, they're the ones that kind of benefited the most, because that, you know, a lot of the tracks on there hadn't had a remix. So they, you know, the versions that we had that panning. The ones that weren't great were Love Me Do and Please Please Me and She Loves You. And I think that was because they didn't have the master tape, so they kind of took it from a recording. She Loves You, Stereo 23 was the biggest disappointment. Yeah, it was. It had the potential to be much better, give us something really good. Bill Dave says, Tone, do you think there was ever a point when the Beatles could have got back together, maybe to make a record or an album in the 70s? I know John talked about it a couple of times. I think the most likely time that it could have happened would have been 1974. But then I think that I think that was the time that John and Paul kind of got together and and played some music in when John was in LA on the Lost Weekend. But I think that up until that point, I think Paul would have always been the one that was the most into it. But I think that Paul at that point, Band on the Run had been out not that long, and obviously he had tremendous amount of success with that. And I guess that he might have felt that, right, okay, this is right, Wings has really got going now with Band on the Run. So I think that might have put him off. I'm not sure that George would have ever been up for it. I think Ringo would have. If John and Paul had been in, then Ringo would have been in. But I'm not sure about George. I'm not sure about George. But I would say if it was ever to happen, it might have been around that time, 1974. What about a new McCartney album? Yeah, well, we've been talking about that as well. That would be great if there's one in the pipeline. It does seem, as we know, that he's been working with Andrew Watt, who produced the Rolling Stones' Hackney Diamonds album. So yeah, I think that is definitely could be on the cards. It's been 4 years since he put out an album of original material, so he must have been working on something. You know, he never sits still for 5 minutes. So there's obviously, he must have done some recording, you know, in this time, whether that would have been on his own or with his band, I don't know. But I think there's a good chance that we could get a new album from Paul this year. It would be about time. Max says, Tone, how is the live playing coming on? Got any forthcoming gigs coming up? Yeah, been playing live, you know, with the band, sort of since I sort of made my comeback on New Year's Eve. Actually, was the first gig that I played after I broke my arm. I the band, we played New Year's Eve and we did 3 sets, and we had a deck drummer, and I did one of the sets, so I did the middle set, and then you know, after that I've been doing all the gigs, so it's been good. It's been good, thank you. James says, oh yes, it is indeed a new Gibson Emporium. I didn't know that they had that one of those in Oxford Street. Great to look around, but no, I didn't buy anything. I have a Les Paul and a 355 plus. It's cheaper online. Wonderful to look around though. Did you have a go on a few though? I bet you did. Hope you didn't play Smoke on the Water. I've also seen the documentary Squaring the Circle. This is the thing about hypnosis, isn't it? I've got the book. It will come up in Austria now in the cinemas. It's about the album covers Hypnosis, and starring mostly Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and Paul. Yeah, they did a lot of covers for Paul, for sure. Right, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I've got to go on another phone call at 6. So I'll pick a couple of questions. James says, I can't stand most of Yoko's stuff, but I'll always say that Approximately Infinite Universe is a great album, and Move On Fast is a fantastic track. Yeah, agree with that. Mount Tartu says, hi Tone, why do you think Paul avoids releasing an archive release of London Town and Back to the Egg? Well, I don't think that he avoids it. You know, I think that what comes out is usually a decision by the marketing team at Capitol. They make the decisions about what comes out rather than Paul. And I honestly don't know. I only think that I don't know why London Town and Back to the Egg has come out. I really hope the archive's not a dead series, but I can't think why they haven't gone there. I just don't know. I just don't know. There just seems to be other things just sort of jumping the queue, if you like. Terry says, my money is on December the 25th for the Rubber Soul box. Would love to see it. Sorry, December 25. So that would be the 60th anniversary. That's when it came out, in December 65. Sorry about that. We're misreading that. Rubber Soul, but would love to see it released sooner. Yeah. Martin says he prefers Magical Mystery Tour to Rubber Soul, not a popular opinion. I think that I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Because, you know, when you think about, you know, if you go track for track, you know, there's nothing on Rubber Soul that's as good as, say, Strawberry Fields. But you know, Rubber Soul's got In My Life, and there's not much on Magical Mystery Tour that's as good as In My Life. I don't know. I can't decide. I can't decide. Charles says they say the Beatles knocked out Please Please Me in 20 minutes. I'm not sure it was that long, that quick. I think it was about, wasn't it about 11 hours? I think it was about 11 hours. If that's the case, I can't see there being very many outtakes. I hope there is. No, I don't think there are many outtakes, but I think there are some. John says, Beatley Tone, do you think Taylor Swift is taking over, taking the throne away from the Beatles? No. I couldn't sing one of her songs. They're just totally not memorable. Richard says, hello, Beatley, my Beatley brother. Hi, Richard. On my lunch break, dropping in for a few. Good to see everyone. Mr. Steve says, afternoon, Chief. Afternoon, Steve. Mr. Joe says, I was under the impression Peter Jackson did a special edit of the rooftop concert and it was very limited release in IMAX theaters. Yes, there was that. That did happen. Not in this. I don't think it happened here though. Not in this country. Steve says, got to go. Thanks for doing this today, Tone. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for coming, Steve. Very nice of you for turning up. Thank you. Dino says, will you be going to Liverpool in August for the convention? And when did you last go? Oh God, I last went in the 80s. I think it was in the 80s. I'm not planning to go, but I haven't completely ruled it out. But at the moment, I'm not going, and I might be struck if I haven't made my mind up yet. I might be struggling for hotels and stuff like that. So I don't know. Are you going, Dino? Martin says, how can the American albums be considered albums when the Beatles themselves didn't pick the songs that went on them? Well, they did pick all the songs, but they just didn't pick them in that order. And you know what the Capitol were like. They tried to rinse as many albums out of the songs as possible. So they only had 10 tracks on them rather than 14, like the UK ones. But a lot of Americans have adopted the UK albums. Where can we watch your band? In Essex. Right. Okay. Right. Martin says, what's your favorite Beatles book? I love Revolution in the Head. I've got that. I'm not sure. The one that really influenced me a lot was The Beatles Forever. It was one of the ones that I read really early on, along with this one here. Not that actual one. That there was an earlier issue of that had them in the Sgt. Pepper suits on the front that I think went up to about 1984. That's an updated version. It goes up to 1981. But I think The Beatles Forever by Nicholas Schaefer was one of the first Beatles books that I read. I read Lennon Remembers really early on. My favourite solo Beatles book, without any shadow of a doubt, is the McCartney Legacy. Really looking forward to volume 2 of that coming out later this year. Yeah, this is a good point that David makes. I thought that it was funny. Rolling Stone picked so many Ringo songs in their top 100 Beatles solo songs. Photograph is great, but then come on. Yeah, Photograph and It Don't Come Easy are both great songs. And I don't think, if you're talking about only 100 songs and you're thinking about the entire catalogue of John, Paul, George and Ringo solo, there surely can't be any room for any more than those two in a top 100. Okay, guys, listen, I've got to go because I've got to go on another call. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on the stream. It's been great talking to you all. I've had an absolute blast. Please, give this video a like, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. As I say, thanks very much for turning up at very short notice. I only sort of thought about doing this today. Thank you to everyone that's saying thank you. And I will see you all very soon with a new video, and I'll do a live stream again in a few weeks. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks very much. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.